Hi everyone, and welcome to this SwiftFox Masterclass. Today we're looking at a new setting on record custom fields called Sync to Relationship. If you've spent time in SwiftFox, you'll know there are two different ways to connect a person to an organization. There's the Contacts and Roles tab, which builds a proper two-way relationship between the two records, and there's the Record Custom Field, which lets you point at another record from anywhere in your custom field layout. Both have their advantages, but until now, they haven't spoken to each other. Today, we're going to look at why these two things sat apart, what sync to relationship changes, and the handful of patterns it unlocks for membership, finance, and committee work. Start with contacts and roles. When you add a relationship there, say you make yourself the finance contact for SwiftFox, that relationship is genuinely two ways. It appears on your profile, and it appears on SwiftFox's contacts tab as well. Both sides know about each other, and both sides carry the job title. A record custom field works differently. It's a field like any other, sitting in a custom field section on the profile, and it holds a reference to one or more records elsewhere in your database. That gives you things contacts and roles can't. In Forms, an update contact block can include a record field, which means someone filling out your form can search your organization database and pick their own employer. And you can build linked fields on top of a record field, pulling data points down from the organization onto the person's profile, industry, region, or the membership tier of their organization. The catch has always been that a record field is a one-sided reference. If a person's profile says they're the finance contact for an organization, the organization has no idea. Look at it from the other end and there's nothing there. Sync to relationship is now the bridge between the two. When sync to relationship is ticked, anything you put into that record field is written into contacts and roles as a real relationship. Add an organization to the field on a person's profile, and that person appears as a contact on the organization. Add a person to the field on an organization, and the relationship shows up on their profile. The direction matters, and we'll come back to it. The field writes into the relationship. It's not a two-way mirror. You keep everything the record field gives you, form search, linked fields, clean exports, and gain the two-way reflection that only contacts and roles could provide. First, head to Custom Field Settings and create a new record custom field. The first decision is the record type. If you're building on people, tick organization. If you're building on organizations, tick people. Sync to relationship only appears when you've selected the opposite record type on its own, because that's the only combination where a person to organization relationship makes sense. Tick both people and organization and the option disappears. Ticking organization also reveals a category drop-down just beneath it, listing the organization categories you have set up in SwiftFox. These could be member, donor, or branch. This narrows which organizations can be chosen in that field. Leave it empty and the field searches everything. Set it to member and only member organizations are selectable. Once sync to relationship is on, you get a relationship job title. Whatever you type here is the job title applied to every relationship the field creates. If the field is called Finance Contact, set the job title to Finance Contact once, and every record added through the field is created with that title. You're not typing it in again for each connection. On a people field, there's a second option. Make primary when setting. When this is ticked, the organization you choose becomes that person's primary organization. Because a person can only have one primary organization, ticking it also switches off and grays out allow multiple. A field that sets the primary organization holds one value. A field that holds many values can't set a primary. Here's the first use case, and probably the most common one. You create an organization record field on people, called something like employer or primary org. Sync to relationship is on, and make primary when setting is ticked. Now, whether someone fills this in themselves through a form, or your team sets it on the profile, three things happen at once. The organization is recorded in a clean exportable field, which means you can build linked fields off it and pull the organization's industry, region, or tier straight down onto the person's profile. It then becomes a person's primary organization, and the relationship appears in contacts and roles, so the organization can see who its people are. That turns one entry into three outcomes. The second example removes the Make Primary checkbox and adds Allow Multiple. You can create a record field called Committee Groups or Board Memberships and set the job title to Board Member or Committee Member. All organizations added here will also be written into contacts and roles with the right job title. You've built the grouping you wanted on the person, and the organization gets the relationship as well. The pattern works just as well in the other direction. On an organization, you can create a people record field for a specific role. Finance contact, admin contact, primary contact. Turn on sync to relationship and set the job title to match. Your organization profile then has a clear, readable section showing the key people for that account, sitting in the custom field layout where your team is already looking. Behind it, each of those people has been given that role in contacts and roles, so it's visible on their profile too. Add someone as the finance contact from the organization, and their profile now says they're the finance contact for that organization. This matters, so I want to be clear about it. The custom field writes into contacts and roles never writes back. If you remove an organization from the record field, the corresponding role is ended. That behaves the way you'd expect. But if you go into contacts and roles and end the relationship there, the custom field is not cleared. The value stays where it is, and your two views are now telling you different things. For anyone administering this, the practical rule is straightforward. Once a relationship is being written by a record field, manage it from the field. Make that clear to your team when you roll it out, because it's the one place the two views can drift apart. Sync to relationship exists so you can stop maintaining the same connection in two places. You get the convenience of a record field, form search, linked fields, clean exports, with a relationship that both sides of your database can see. If you're starting out, pick the connection your team enters most often. For most organizations, that's the employer or primary organization on a person. Build one record field for it, set the job title, decide whether it should set the primary, and see how it behaves before you extend the pattern to committees and key contacts. Thanks for joining me in this week's masterclass. We'll see you in the next one.